Last time on Square Roots, Martin sends us on some more errands. It's all hands on deck for the opening of the Great Gate, and we cut short the Daedra siege engine in the Great Bris of Ruma. Mazel tov! Hi everybody, and welcome to Square Roots. I'm your host, Vanessa. I am joined as always by my co-hosts and friends, Matthew Van Zant.
Hello, Vanessa. Wonderful to see you.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. It's lovely to see you as well. And John Paradise Brandon.
You know, I've been to Paradise, but I've never been to me.
Oh.
It's nice to see you, friends.
Oh. It's nice to see you too, John.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, and we'll get more into that when we level up. But first, I want to tell you that this is the podcast where we play classic role-playing games and talk about them one chunkarino at a time. It's like a book club, but for video games.
What's
Any
a book?
questions? A bookie be a sort of brick.
See, I want to, can I like hard, I want to point out something that just happened. I said something and Vanessa answered me at the exact same time by coincidence, but that is the type of thing that makes it sound like people are off sync when you are editing the podcast, and it's the most frustrating thing on the planet, and that is how you end up constantly moving shit around.
Moving shit around constantly be when someone answer you at the same time you're saying something.
I know, but like that was a totally natural version of that happening.
A totally natural version of that happening.
That's a great
is
point,
when
Vanessa.
It's not a plan.
See, I feel like this is an editing joke that 5 people will get.
Yeah. All right, fine.
All you
I wasn't
editing
even really a
stands
joke.
out
I'm
there.
just complaining, all right? Editing takes a long time.
Yes.
It does take a long time for you to complain.
God damn it, Vanessa. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Matt?
I'm great. What RPG are we playing, and which part of that series are we in?
Oh my god, it's pretty exciting. This is our final Elder Scrolls Oblivion episode.
Did it. We did it. We did it. Yay!
People said it couldn't be done. They said, what are you guys thinking? An Elder Scrolls game takes hundreds of hours to play with all kinds of side quests and crazy business. But we did it.
To be fair, we kind of didn't. We kind of screwed this up. None of us did the Mages Guild. At least none of us did it and talked about it. We certainly apparently did not finish the Fighters Guild stuff.
Nope.
We skipped about half the content in the game.
Probably more.
Right.
Like, how many forts did you go into?
And it's funny because starting out, we had enough people to cover most of the content, I think, and we just kind of
Well, I got distracted by side quests, and then the Fighters Guild, the Mages Guild seems to give you a through line of quests you can follow, but with Fighters Guild, it's I didn't have any more quests, and every time I talked to someone in Fighters Guild, no one was going to give me any quests, so I just gave up.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I actually did complete the Mages Guild and the Fighters Guild, so you guys are just lazy.
I know. We know.
And
I finished
also,
most of the Mages Guild, I think.
Vanessa, I have 3 children.
Julio, Doom, and Porky.
Yes.
it's true, and I am just a woman of leisure, so
Yeah.
really I shouldn't compare. But you did make a allusion to the fact that there used to be more of us, and that's the last time we'll ever speak of it on this podcast again.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. Jim Banks is still on hiatus. We miss you, Jim.
We miss you, Jim.
We miss you, Jim?
Here, I'll just do my Jim impression. Whoa, skateboards.
Oh, man, what a cool dude.
I'm just here driving my Corvette.
I guess if you're editing this episode, that means I get to edit the first episode of Rogue Galaxy.
It's true.
Hey, listeners, guess what we're playing next?
What a stealth announcement. Wow, you just slid that right in there.
Rogue Galaxy? Who even makes that? What is that for?
What even is it?
These are all great questions that I don't really have the answer for.
Level 5, and you can play it on PS2 or PS4.
And you can play it on PS2 for PS4.
Yeah.
Is Mark Hamill in it?
No. I don't think so. Is he?
Someone told me something about Mark Hamill.
He's in the American version, the American translation of Yakuza 1 for the PS2.
That's crazy talk. Wow. I didn't realize you were so excited about Mark Hamill's voiceover career. I mean, I guess we all are.
What's happening?
His Joker is pretty quintessential.
Nothing. I'm not commenting on the game going on around me.
Yeah, listeners at home do not know that John is currently sitting in front of a big screen TV that is playing a live stream of Doom.
It's true.
And it makes him look very gamey and very G4. So yeah, X-Play's back. That's exciting. And it's here now.
Well, the funny thing is there are two monitors mirroring each other.
Oh, I had no idea.
One in front of me and one behind me. But we'll get to that.
Golly.
Yeah, so Rogue Galaxy does not have the voice of Elijah Dushku or Mark Hamill. Mm-hmm. But it does have like a sort of R2-D2 C-3PO stand-in because it's like JRPG Star Wars.
That's why they called it Rogue Galaxy, after Rogue Squadron.
I guess.
Yep, it's true.
And Matt's favorite Star Wars movie, Rogue One.
I'm really looking forward to playing some JRPG Star Wars. Like, shake things up, you know?
Yeah.
We just did JRPG steampunk and traditional medieval fantasy. Let's shake it up with some goofy JRPG Star Wars.
Oh, there's no goofy in that game.
And, yeah, I don't know.
How about we level up?
That's a great idea. Why don't we make Matt go first?
Okay. What have I done? Let me think for a minute, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. When's the last time we recorded? A week ago? What did I talk about last time? I could talk about Dragalia Lost, but that game isn't really worth talking about. I could talk about Spider-Man, but I kind of already did. Shit, I haven't done anything. All right, well, I'll just talk shit about the Nintendo game. Okay, what did I level up this week? I leveled up my mobile JRPG skills by playing the newest release from Cygames and Nintendo, Dragalia Lost. And I'd like it to get lost out of my Dragalia, you stupid game that's not very good but I can't put down.
Was it on?
It is on your cell phone telephone.
My cell phone telephone?
That's correct. It is a gacha pawn heavy free-to-play fantasy mobile RPG that's got kind of action-y levels and like gameplay that's okay. And then a lot of story and characters.
Yeah, wow, like an RPG.
And it wants me to buy shards or something all the time.
Oh, I hate that.
It's not great.
You also got Mr. Puzzle Detective? Professor Thinkin' game?
That's
you got
true.
That?
I did buy Professor Layton the morning I woke up and saw it was out.
I love that game.
It's hard. I'm playing it, but you get to puzzles sometimes and you're like, I need a break from this for a day.
That's on mobile as well, right?
It is. It got an HD remaster came out on mobile. It's $10.
Nice.
Which seemed like a pretty good deal.
I have never played that game. Yeah, I've always wanted to, and I'll probably pick it up. It had a puzzle that was familiar to me from our work here on Square Roots.
That's right. Had to get some chickens and some wolves across a river on a raft.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that almost sounds like an instant classic. We can cover sometime.
Oh, that would be really fun, actually.
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea because that I'm the same. I've never played it, and I'm glad that I can now. I could have found it for when I have a 3DS. I could have found one. Yeah, but it's just mobile's more convenient. It's like how I played the first Ace Attorney game a year or two ago and had a blast, and was so glad I could finally experience it because I was never going to play it on a Game Boy.
It's true.
Yeah. It's really nice to see them opening up their market a little bit because they've been very jealously protective of keeping their IP on their exclusive platforms in the past.
Is Layton a Nintendo game? I know it was on Nintendo consoles.
I think Nintendo published the first one, maybe. I think at least in North America. It's got maybe the single worst British accent in a video game ever in the child character in that game. I've solved it, Professor. Like, it sounds like us doing a British accent. It's that bad.
I've never seen a puzzle like this. It's me.
It really does sound
British
like that.
Fresh eyes.
Oh, British fresh eyes. Hello. A dingo ate me. 'Cause I'm a baby.
That's Australia.
Have a spot of tea with me, dingo.
Yeah, I love me biscuits and crumpets and whatnot.
The dingo is the baby now. That's what I always thought was the moral of that story. Like, the dingo ate the baby. Well, so now you have a dingo for a baby? All right.
You are what you eat.
Seems like a good trade-off. Anyway, I guess that's it for me and my mobile adventures. Jonathan, how did you level up?
How did I level up? Well, a couple of things. First of all, sadly for all you Star Trek fans, I didn't really watch much, or at least there's nothing really interesting in the Star Trek I watched, but I did watch a new episode of the season 3 of my favorite television show. It's called The Good Place.
Yay!
That is such a good show.
And I had
God.
a suspicion of where season 3 was going to go, and it is going exactly where I thought it was going to go. Down to the twist at the end of the episode, which I won't get into.
You should not, but it was great, and I was very happy to see it.
But we'll get into that maybe at the end of the season when everyone's watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I bought the whole, I got a season pass on iTunes because I don't have cable.
Oh.
Which makes me very cool.
It's super cool. You're off the grid. You're unplugged.
Yep.
You're back to earth, living a natural life, and it's great.
I also got, I had some credit card points, and I was like, what should I do with my credit card points? And I went to see if they had a monitor with something called FreeSync, which lets you run, match whatever frame rate output of a game there is without tearing, and it looks super smooth. And I got it, and it looks amazing. Then I realized that I need to go to Ottawa for Christmas, and I wasted all my points on a monitor instead of a plane ticket that I needed to buy. So I have mixed feelings about it, but the monitor's awesome.
Yeah.
Recommended. And other than that, I ended up playing to test out the monitor. What did I play? Oh, I played some more Forza Horizon 3, which, I don't know, that game, I do want to, one of our listeners, actually, Chris Ranson, is offered to play multiplayer. Well, I asked him if I could play multiplayer with him, because I kind of feel like it might be better multiplayer, like most games are. Because that game I don't get it. I don't understand it. I think I like racing on circuits. I don't like freeform racing, except I love Burnout Paradise, which is totally freeform racing. But
I don't like a racing game at all.
Oh. Well, Vanessa, how did you level up?
Oh, man. I watched a movie that I've been putting off watching for a very long time. Even though I'm a fan of the franchise that spawned it, I watched X-Men Age of Apocalypse.
Oh.
What a piece of shit.
Oh, wow.
It is so bad. And
hottest of takes.
I liked X-Men First Class a lot. I liked X-Men Days of Future Past a lot. Maybe even more than X-Men First Class. I liked all the actors in the film, but man, Age of Apocalypse is awful.
Oh.
It looks cheap. It's a ridiculous story that's kind of barely held together. It introduces all of these classic characters into this new X-Men world that's created, but not in a way that gives them any character, like, in and of themselves. It's like if you don't care about them from the comics, you're not going to care about them in the movie. Because they're totally flat. The directing was ridiculous. There was a part where, and I don't know if this was because it was edited for TV, but I can't see why it would be. But one of the characters is, like, shooting spikes at a wall, and it cuts from the character, like, getting ready to shoot the spikes to Magneto and Oscar Isaac and these other people who are looking on, and they turn their head really fast, like the spike has just been shot, and then they show the wall with the spike already in it. So it's like they couldn't even animate or afford a effect to make these spikes shoot across the room. It's just like watching the actors be like, whoa, huh, hey, a spike. Oh, it was so cheesy and terrible. It was just like, and it had all this like weird Egyptian imagery and cultural appropriation and actors who are not Egyptian playing these roles. It was just really sci-fi original movie crap level crap.
Is that the one where Quicksilver like has that really cool scene of disarming everybody and like playing with time?
No, that was the last one.
Yeah, that was
in this
Days
one
of Future Past.
Yeah,
okay.
They try to recreate that by giving Quicksilver another full like music video sequence, and it's just not as good. You can tell, you can see the budget reduction in the CGI.
Returns.
Yeah,
it's
and
like
we've seen it before.
Yeah, it's like the first few seasons of the Marvel Netflix shows all had to have a corridor scene that was basically a big tracking scene fight. Because Daredevil had a really good one, and it was just it was just diminishing returns. It didn't.
Yeah, and it had some characters that I was really excited to see, like Jubilee is in it.
That's right. She's the best.
She looked great, and then she was in like one scene and didn't do anything.
All right, so Vanessa, does this make you more or less excited for the upcoming X-Men Dark Phoenix movie, of which a trailer dropped, I think, last week? The first trailer.
Definitely less, although I'm not sure. Is it also directed by Bryan Singer? I think not.
I don't know.
I think that it's not. Maybe we can have Julio Google that while we're on the air here. But, yeah, and I just, like, you know, Bryan Singer is one of those people who probably shouldn't be given big budget movies to make anymore. So if it's not directed by him, I would be happy about it. But yeah, I love comic book movies, but I do, restrain myself if the reviews are particularly poor from going to see them in the theater. So I'll probably have to wait and see what is said about it.
Yeah, I think the Marvel movies are the only ones I still feel like I should go see, because everything else is, well, anyway, that's a different discussion.
Okay, so Phoenix will be directed by Simon Kinberg of London, England, who directed The Martian, which was a good film, and also Logan.
Oh, that was a good film too.
But also Fantastic Four 2015.
Would it be okay if we, for the next 100 level ups, just review one episode of the X-Men animated series?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Pretty sure there's a podcast for that already.
But yeah, X-Men Age of Apocalypse. Skip it. And also, one more thing. One final bone to pick with X-Men Age of Apocalypse. Don't put Oscar Isaac behind some kind of full face makeup. He's beautiful, and I want to see his face, not to see a whole bunch of makeup on top of his face. What make it so I can't see his face?
That's why, Vanessa, I don't know if you want to reveal this. She has a Blu-ray copy of Sucker Punch that has actually been worn out somehow in some scenes. Because she's played it too much.
Because I've played it too much.
Yeah.
But, even in Sucker Punch, it suffers from pencil mustache covering Oscar Isaac's face, trying to make him look less appealing. Also trying to make him less appealing by making him a blatant rapist.
Yes.
But it doesn't work because it's Oscar Isaac. Sorry. I know that's
His
not
piercing
PC.
blue
but,
eyes.
I know. But thick black hair. His short little body. He's very short.
Oh, wow. So do we only have Cameron's Paradise to cover tonight?
At the end of the game.
This episode is going to be 2 minutes long.
Well, I have some quests I did.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
we have basically everything that we haven't talked about in Oblivion so far, which is about 90 hours worth of content.
Yeah.
We'll be covering today.
Yeah.
Well, then let's get to it.
Okay. Time for the quest log.
Horse armor.
Taking it to the quest log.
Horse armor.
So, last time we closed the Great Gate of Bruma. We got the last ingredients for Martin's magic spell. We looted the corpses of all of the guards that were left dead on the battlefield. And we hoof it on back to the Stronghold of the Blades, where Martin has set up a little spell right in the middle of the dining room. He's got a big sort of pentagram thing going on the floor, and he has all 4 ingredients, and he talks to you about how, like, this is it. It's time to go you into the spell world and get the Amulet of Kings back from Mankar Car? How do you say it?
Mankar Cameron.
Oh, what a stupid name.
Remember, it's
I
Kirk's
know.
father.
Right. Kurt Cameron's father.
Yeah.
Everybody in this
Jesus.
game has a dumb fantasy name, and the villain is Cameron.
And the emperor is Martin.
That's right.
The two people that don't, basically.
Mm-hmm. So Martin is, like, not super optimistic. He's like, I'm going to send you through this gate, and you're never going to come back, probably. So, bye. Good luck with that. We know that this is where Cameron has run off to. It is his twisted vision of a perfect world. So, I don't know about you guys, but when Martin opened up that gate, I was bracing myself for some kind of hellscape. And we walk through it, and John, what do we see?
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a garden. There's deer running through it. There's flowers in bloom.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect sunset.
Mm-hmm. It's lovely.
Clouds tracing the lines through a vanilla sky.
Mm-hmm. It was not, as I had feared, another stupid Oblivion Gate world.
Not yet.
Oh, spoilers. So we're in this place called the Savage Garden, just like John's favorite 1990s band.
You know, Vanessa,
Mm-hmm.
every time I see your face, I just want to close my eyes and it takes me to a place where your magenta eyes and magenta beams make a chick on my spine like a chicka cherry cola.
Oh.
I don't even try to complain. I just hold on tight. Remind me of I don't know the rest of that song.
I think if it happens again, you might lose your mind.
This is wonderful.
I want to come a little bit closer, even a little bit higher. I know you when I get to you. Ooh, I want you. I don't know if I need you, but ooh, I gotta find out. I wanna find out. Yeah, so that song is playing the whole time that you're there. Gets a little repetitive, but hey, it's a good song. And as we stroll down this hill, down this lovely path, I saw coming towards me from the distance a panicked human in rags running along. Mm-hmm. And there was some kind of Daedra running after it.
Is it one of these giant crocodile boys?
Yeah, something like that. Or maybe a storm Atronach. Yeah, I think Vanessa's a little higher level than we are, so she gets, like, more interesting enemy Daedra coming out. Mm-hmm. I got my first, like, Clan Fears and Frost Atronach.
Ooh, that must have been scary.
Ooh, I know.
Yeah,
I got big alligator boys, and they're like, they had chompy faces. They look like they would have... No.
The Masters of the Pan Flute, the Clan Fear.
No, not the Clan Fears, not the dinosaurs.
Oh.
Killer Croc.
Yeah, Killer Croc. Leatherhead from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without clothes on. That's what this was.
Mm-hmm. Oh. If all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle villains, that's the last one I want to see without clothes on.
Wow.
Really? The
We're
last one.
Shaming the reptiles tonight, aren't we, John? Jeez.
What about, like, Tonka or whatever his name is?
Yeah. What about that baby turtle?
Yeah, what about the baby snapping turtle?
Yeah, it's not really for me either.
You know, every time I see a donut, which is not very often because I do not care for donuts.
You close your eyes and it takes you to a place where your magenta, mine, and crystal beam go to the base of your spine like a chicken cherry granola.
This is not going to be a thing.
But I was in the presence of some boxes of donuts. I think about when that snapping turtle has a donut and the other turtles are like, come on, have a yum yum, yum yum. And the turtle's like, yum yum. And then it like takes the donut and crushes it in its hand and sees the ice cube of like devolution juice they put in
like
it or
meth.
something.
It's like a rock.
Yeah.
Like a meth rock.
They look at it and then he looks at it and he's like, yum yum.
I'm a baby, but I understand complex things like you trying to slip poison into my food.
It's like, wouldn't the turtle just be like, oh, this must be yummy too. Sweet.
I saw that film in theaters, but I don't think I have not seen it since. I don't think
It's crazy. It's an amazing movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had that on VHS and watched it more than once.
Yeah, probably thousands of times.
Yum yum.
Yum yum.
So, there are these people running around.
Rap, ninja. Sorry.
They get killed straight up by these Daedra. I think I saved one of them, but the other one was just, like, murderified.
That's weird.
Well, you don't want to save anyone here anyways, because they are followers of Dagon Mayroon.
They are all followers of Dagon Mayroon. And
it doesn't matter, because they're all immortal. Like, they say that they die and they just come back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the humans who die in this part, the Savage Garden, have some bracelets on them. Or manacles or something. And I picked them up. And we also have a little bit of companionship in the form of a voiceover.
Ooh.
Yeah, Cameron knows that we're there. Like, as soon as we teleport in, he's like, what's up? Welcome to my paradise. I've been waiting for you.
He just fucking rambles the whole time.
He monologues so hard.
Is mankind not due the sweat of his labor? No, says the government. It belongs to Uncle Sam. Mm-hmm. No, says the communist.
It belongs to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically what he's got going on.
Holy shit. So Mankar Cameron is...
Andrew Ryan?
Gerald Galt, or whatever his name is.
Ayn Rand.
What's his name? Galt? Who's the
John
person
Galt.
that they're looking for? John Galt. There you go. Thank you.
I've been wondering who John Galt is.
I know. It's Mankar Cameron.
Wow. Mystery solved. Take down your signs. Take off your t-shirts. We all now know who John Galt is.
You're welcome, listeners. We just really solved a lot of problems for you, because
That
next
was
time you're
probably the
talking to
biggest
some
mystery.
libertarian, you just be like, listen, I've been to John Galt's paradise.
It's just a
and
thin
burned
veneer.
it to the ground.
So I have thoughts about this, because this is an early example of something that I think is still going on in video games today, where you have this charismatic bad guy who in the last level will lecture you as you slowly walk towards killing usually him. I think always him. I don't think I've ever seen a lady bad guy in this role who does this like monologuing.
Well, give us some examples. I mean, obviously BioShock.
Okay. Andrew Ryan / Atlas. I think that would be at I just played a game that did this too, where someone's talking to you over the loudspeaker. Not Wolfenstein.
Was it Prey?
There is a lot of, yes, Prey definitely has that, although he's not necessarily the big bad guy.
Yeah, he's your brother.
Yeah, it's the brother that does this and that one. But just, maybe, what was that game? Singularity, I think, does it, maybe. But yeah, just a lot of games that came out with like this sort of structure. But it's weird because you don't really get to know the bad guy in Oblivion until basically now. Like you saw him once before.
Well,
So
it really is kind of lazy writing, because it's like, we're going to make an in-depth character, but we don't know how to work it into dialogue or other investigation where you learn more about this person, so we're just going to have them info dump at the end.
Is it, what's his face from, the first 5 minutes of Force Awakens who plays him? You know, that guy, the voice, he's like a British actor.
Kylo Ren.
No. Old man.
Oh,
Let's
that
see.
dude.
Who's
The dude what have the thing and he give it to that dreamy Oscar Isaac.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's great about that movie is they don't cover Oscar Isaac's face. It's just there. It's just there for you to see and touch and think about touching it.
Oh no, it's Terrence Stamp. Holy
What?
crow.
What? You're
General
joking.
Zod himself.
Wow.
What's going? Oh, Mankar Cameron.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's General Zod. I love Terrence Stamp.
Original General Zod.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
dead General Zod. There's General
No.
Zod, and then there's dead General Zod.
What
Wow.
happens to General Zod at the end? Did you just get? I think they just get thrown back into the
Yeah, they
Forbidden
get thrown
Zone.
back into the Phantom Zone.
Oh, right, the Phantom Zone.
Did all of the talk of BioShock type games make Julio start playing BioShock?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, so Terrence Stamp is the voice of it. And he gives a good performance, but he's kind of got that bored Terrence Stamp delivery that I really like. But he sounds
That
maybe
seems
a little more
strange
bored.
for the character, because the character is supposed to be the zealot.
Yeah.
And character explains that his paradise is the world as it used to be before it was corrupted by men.
Men are decadent, he says about 1,000 times.
Yeah. Men are decadent. You're the one who built like your own paradise castle in the middle of an island.
And they've all got
More
the fanciest
decadent than that.
clothes. When you kill this guy, you can take his robe. It's worth a lot of money.
Oh, nice.
Except that no one can actually buy it.
What?
Oh,
Because-
really?
No one actually has more than 1,200 gold at a time to give out.
Oh, right.
Oh.
They can buy it, but just for far below value.
Yeah, exactly, which is dumb. I don't
It's
like
dumb.
this system at all.
That's how
Yeah.
the market works, John. If I want to buy a Maserati and someone's like, I must sell you this Maserati, I'll be like, okay, I got $40.
Wait, I can buy a Maserati for $40?
No, you can sell me a Maserati for $40.
Oh.
But then I can sell that Maserati to someone with more money, and the next time you want to sell me something, I'll have more money to give to you.
Friends, we are still on the second sentence of the first paragraph of the notes.
And these are not long sentences because I wrote the notes right before we started.
So, we hear Terrence Stamp kind of mumble about. Now, the funny thing is, last episode, Vanessa was talking about how the Daedra are the true gods of Oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
And, which kind of echoes what, Terrence Stamp says here.
Yeah, he is on board with my theory. He says that the 9 divines can die, which I don't know where he gets that from, but that's what he says. Which means that they can't actually be gods, but Daedric princes can never die. So they're the real gods, and Oblivion is all there really is. Oh, and by the way, the world that you think of as the real world is just another realm of Oblivion, and it belongs to Dagon.
Yeah, we were just borrowing it.
Mm-hmm. So he has escaped into this paradise world and brought a lot of his chosen followers with him, but they don't seem totally thrilled with it. We're able to leave this savage garden by putting on the cuffs that we find on some of the dead humans. And the cuffs, I think, give you a, negative 10% resistance to fire or something. So they make you much more burnable. And then we enter into the flooded grotto. And there are some people there who will talk to you about their experiences in Cameron's paradise. Did you talk to these guys? Matt!
I did. I blew through, I zipped through the dialogue. There wasn't much. It was just like, we served Mankar Cameron and now we're tortured forever. All right, great. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about you.
They have achieved their immortality, but their immortality has come in a way where they just kind of get tortured and killed and then brought back over and over again.
Was this before or after the guy who has the key that you can take from him, like the armlets?
This is after, because you have to have the armlets on to get into the flooded grotto.
That guy offers you a side quest to do some service for him to get his armlets.
Did anybody figure that?
I did not, because I figured I don't want to do what a demon tells me to do. So I just killed him.
I think that guy was already dead, because I just took some armlets off a corpse.
Oh.
I didn't feel like going through it, and I figured one of you would. So I killed
him.
None of us did it.
Him with my sword.
So we come into the grotto, and there's some monsters down there, but then there's also this dude named Eldemil.
Eldemil?
Eldemil, the elf.
Oh, hello, Eldemil.
Yeah, and Eldemil comes up to you and he's like, hello, it's me, Eldemil. My job is to torture people, but you don't look like one of the people on my torture list. What are you doing here? So I told Eldemil, I'm straight up here to kill Cameron. And he's like, can you really do it? Can you end our suffering? Okay, come with me and we'll pull a Chewbacca. Did you guys agree to participate in his plan?
Sure, I love being a Chewbacca.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I Chewbacca'd it up. I figured, why not?
Mm-hmm. So you go with this guy, and there's a demon there, and he's like, what the heck is this? Who the heck is this guy? What are you even doing? And he's like, I was just about to pop this here hero in this cage and torture them. And then we'll see what happens. And he's like, okay. So you go into the cage. There are a few of these cages. They're very disturbing because there's like a sort of a scales of justice thing going on where there are two cages and one can be raised and one lowered. And there's always some other dude in the other cage. So the first time I saw one, I heard some screaming coming up from this lava, and there was a lever next to the cage. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna like raise this cage and save the person from being burnt by the lava. And as that one came rising up, the other one started going down, and the woman in it was like, no, not again, please, no, don't do it. And I was like, wow, I suck.
What I really like was that when they are being lowered into the lava, it's not like a continued scream or anything. It's just like the same 5 scream sounds. So it's like, oh, oh,
yeah,
oh.
Yeah, it's the same noises that you get when you're like hitting someone.
Yeah.
And also they continue when the person is fully submerged. So I guess the sound of their voice is carrying through the lava. Just like,
yeah.
Hey, lava. Oh no, I'm in lava. Ow.
It's real dumb. And I loved it.
So we get right into one of these cages, and
that seems like a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. A dude starts to lower us down. We can see the lava slowly approaching the cage, and just as we reach that boiling, bubbling surface, the cage stops. So that's great, except that you can't be that close to lava and not get burned. Just
My
the heat of it.
Fur got singed. And
Yeah.
I was like, oof, oof, ow, ow, oof, ow, oof, oof, ow, ow.
Yeah, don't they know about, what's it, convection?
They apparently do not.
Oh.
And neither does your character, which is why they don't get hurt. It's like in
okay.
a Looney Tunes when you don't know about gravity, so you don't fall down.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the guy lowers us down, and then he lowers us right up again, which I guess could be called raising. He raises the cage and opens the cage to like let you out on the other side of this chasm.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I can't go over there, but you keep going, and then I'll distract the guards and meet up with you later. So I was like, cool. But then I didn't know which way to go, so it turns out I just kind of wandered into the room with all the guards anyway. And then I killed them.
Why would you do that?
Well, they saw me, and they were like, holy heck, it's that prisoner, let's kill her. So I didn't want that, so I killed them.
I did the same thing, except they didn't see me. I just decided to sneak up behind them and kill them all, because why not? Look at them. Standing there all, look at me.
Yep. So we continue on, and then Eldemil, as promised, meets up with us again and takes the cuffs off so we can leave the flooded grotto. And is like, okay, let's go kill Cameron. Like, sweet.
So he died pretty much right away after that for me.
Yeah.
He doesn't die. He gets knocked out.
He
gets up again.
He never came. Oh, I guess you never can keep him down.
He showed back up when I was fighting. When I got to the end.
No, he never showed back up for me, and I was like, "Hey, where's my buddy?" So he was like, "Maybe we can figure out a way to kill Mankar Cameron." And it turns out the way to kill Mankar Cameron is like with your sword.
It's not as big a riddle as this guy seems to make it seem.
Sword plus his face equals. Let's try this out.
So we get out. There are these weird plants called like mana blossoms, which I hadn't seen anywhere else in the game. So I picked all of those, and that took like 10 minutes.
That gives you, what does it give you? It gives you ambrosia.
I don't even know. Yeah, it gives you ambrosia, and I don't know what the ambrosia does, but I wanted it. And eventually we continue on, and we find this sort of little castle. And there are these two people there named Ruma and Raven. And one of them...
That's so Raven.
It's so Raven. And so Ruma.
Wait.
One of them came up to me and was like, I bet you didn't think you'd see me again. And I was like, I have no idea who you are.
Yeah. Were they from like earlier in the game or what?
One of them, I think Raven Simonier was from the sewers. That's who you meet with to get book 4 of the Path of Dawn diary, or the commentaries.
And then we kill them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she started off on Keenan and Kel. Is that right?
Sure. Wait, who? Raven Simonian?
Raven.
No, she started off on The Cosby Show.
Oh.
Don't talk about The Cosby Show.
Yeah,
what are you doing? This is a family show.
God damn it, John.
Sorry.
So, yeah, they're there. And I'm like, I never thought I'd see you again. Wow, this is amazing. They stood around while I picked more mana plants for like 5 minutes. And they're like, my father is waiting inside. I'm like, cool, I'm gardening. Like, just chill out for a while. So then we go inside, and Cameron is super happy to see us.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you're the last guardian of the real world. And the
Which
champion.
I have some dumb name for that you'll never hear again.
Mm-hmm. And it's super great that you're here because now I can kill you and nothing else will stand in my way. I was really hoping we could talk it out.
There's no option of talking him into suicide.
No, which there really should be. Because that's the kind of thing this game should have. Like, be able to persuade the guy that he has been duped by Dagon, and then he'll be like, you're right, I never thought of it that way. What have I done? But no, there's nothing like that. So, a battle commencey.
He gets stabbed a lot. It's really easy.
First, you do have to kill his children. So
that's great.
Yeah, so Ruma and Raven attack.
They're already dead.
They are already dead. That's true. You kill them. I think you have to loot their corpses because they have some kind of special immortality rings on or something like that will bring them back to life if you don't.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I definitely looted their corpses, so you could be right. Maybe I just didn't realize it. Yeah. I definitely loot. As soon as I kill something, I loot it. So probably... Yeah.
I think there is some kind of trick involving them, but once they're dead, you can kill their father real good, real fast. And then his whole world just starts to crumble around him. And you grab the Amulet of Kings off his corpse, and you are teleported back to the place
Cloud Ruler Temple.
Cloud Ruler Temple.
And, it'd be funny if you forget to grab it, and then you're back at Cloud Ruler Temple, and he's like, oh... Do you have the Amulet of Kings? And you're like,
no, can we just open this gate up again real quick? Just real quick, open it up again. Yeah, so you get there, all of the blades are kneeling, like, around in a circle. And Martin is in his full armor. He's like, super dope, you got the amulet, now I can be the king / emperor forever. So it's off to the Imperial City.
I love the Imperial City.
I had some wacky stuff happen to me at the Imperial City.
Oh, tell
me.
When I got there, I teleported obviously from Cloud Ruler Temple with Martin to the Imperial City. And when I got there, one of the guards pulled out his sword and attacked Martin.
Oh no.
And then that I couldn't because I hadn't done a save after Mankar Cameron's Paradise. I was just working on the autosave. There was nothing I could do about it. I tried all sorts of stuff. I fought with him, and then the guards attacked me, and then I attacked the guards, and then he attacked me. Nothing worked. Finally, I just had to teleport in, sit there and let him fight the guards. Mm-hmm. Go inside. He fights the Chancellor. And eventually one of them will knock the other out, and then the game will proceed.
Oh, that's good.
I actually had some real problems. I had to restart it several times because there were a few times where, there's a moment when you're talking to the Chancellor when the game takes over and you can't move. Mm-hmm. And I kept having Martin wake up and try to attack him a guard would come in and attack Martin. It happened 3 times during that scene. It was so frustrating. Finally, it just managed to play through.
Mm-hmm.
I had the issue of through Paradise, I used all the charges on all my weapons. And I forgot to, in between going to the blades, I forgot to save, and I didn't get a chance to go to, like, anyone who could recharge my weapons.
Oh, no.
So I had, like, just regular unmagic-y weapons for the final fight, which really sucked.
Mm-hmm. But, so that's pretty crazy. I wonder why they were attacking Martin.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was ridiculous. So you go in, and if you're me, Martin fights his way to the throne room, and then he has a battle with the Chancellor over who's going to be Emperor, and eventually Martin knocks him out, and then the Chancellor's like, all right, you're the Emperor now, and then, boom, a bunch of Oblivion gates open up in the middle of the city.
Didn't you have something with the blades fighting the guards after the siege of Ruma?
Yes.
Oh, maybe it's to do with that.
That's probably what it was. Wow,
yeah.
That's crazy.
So they were like in that faction or whatever, and for whatever reason they had started fighting, and they did not forget.
So I had a wildly different end of the game here. But eventually the Oblivion gates open, and what happens, Vanessa? You have to go...
Yeah, as soon as you go see the Chancellor, which in my case, he was just like, hey, what's up? You're here, Martin. And Martin's like, can I be Emperor? And the Chancellor's like, well, we've talked about it, and we've formed the Elder Council, and we've all taken a vote, and you're the Emperor!
Yay!
He gets down on his knee and poses fealty. As soon as that happens, a guard runs in and he's like, oh, they're here! The Oblivion gates are open! And Martin decides that he has to get to the temple right away to light the dragon fires. Because, as you'll recall, the dragon fires are what keep the gates between Oblivion and the real world closed.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the whole deal.
Well, there seemed to be another part to it, but...
Yeah, maybe we'll get into that. So we go outside. Well, I guess first the Daedra kind of flood into the palace and we kill them. We go outside and there are some more of them for us to kill. And then we just run to the temple district and we're too late. Dagon is here.
No!
He's a big boy. Y'all see Dagon?
Yeah, Dagon's he's like a big kaiju.
He's got like 8 arms. And 4 legs. And 10 penises.
Looking.
And he's really stupid looking.
Yeah, he's sort of plodding along. To the best of what I could tell, he doesn't really hit you or do anything.
Yeah, I don't think I got attacked by him. Because I ran by him a couple of times. You can just run between his legs, basically.
Yeah, because he's too big. But his minions are there. They're all around. But it's not that difficult to get past them. You just have to run into the temple. And at that point, Martin comes up with the craziest plan I have ever heard. I don't know where he gets this idea from. He's just standing there and he's like, well, dang, it's too late. Don't really know what to do. I guess I'll just self-immolate myself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And there has been, from what I can recall, no lore kind of pointing to the idea that this was something that Martin could or should do. Like, everything... Did
you not read all the books in Cyrodiil?
I did not.
You didn't read the Mysterium Xerxes? It was like, if Dagon breaks out, kill yourself. And he was like, smart idea.
No, that's not what I read at all.
Right. So, what's the easiest way for me to kill myself? Oh, we've got that bomb machine in the middle of the temple. Let's go there.
Yeah. So, Martin steps into the bomb machine and lights himself on fire and says a little prayer. And you're just standing there at this point. You're just like, can't move, watching this happen. And, John, what happens to Martin?
He breaks the Amulet of Kings.
Yeah, and light comes out of him like he's exploding. And
he kind of looked what like Beast at the end of Beauty and the Beast looked like.
Yeah.
When he turned back from being Beast.
Oh, he got ugly.
But this is a reverse Beast.
Oh.
Because he's a beauty turning into a Dagon.
A Dagon? No.
Dragon.
Dagon's already there. This is Dagon plus R.
Oh, a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And a giant dragon and the four-legged man smack each other pretty ineffectually for a while.
Yeah, there's sort of a not great cinematic scene. It's not a true cinematic because it's not a cut scene.
Yeah.
But you're stuck there just watching this fight between these two kaiju.
It kind of reminds me of those Rock'em Sock'em Robots toys where they just sort of like lamely punch at each other.
They just trade a few blows, and then the giant dragon bites Dagon on the neck, and the two of them explode.
Yeah, and Dagon has ripped the roof off the temple at this point. They both explode, but then the dragon turns to stone.
Oh.
Yeah, it's true.
I believe you. I remember. And then there's a cut scene of like the camera going through the, like around the world after it's been freed of these Oblivion gates and Dagon's dead. And the graphics of the pre-rendered cutscene look so much worse than the game looks on my computer.
It's really weird.
Yep. Like it looks really bad.
Yeah. And it's an interesting climactic fight because your hero doesn't really do very much. There's no person that you spar with or something like that. Yeah, it's just like, and yay, the dragon turned to stone, and that was the end of the septums, which I thought was supposed to be a big problem, because they're like, as long as a septum sits on the throne, the gates will be closed. But now I guess they have this stone dragon to protect them instead.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is the end of the era. It's all over. And
truly, the age of dragons has begun.
And then we're back in the temple. The Chancellor comes running in, and the Chancellor's like, hey, where's Martin? And you're like, you see that big stone dragon? I hate to break it to you, but that's Martin. And the Chancellor's like, oh no, what are we going to do? We're going to have to find another emperor. It's going to be this whole thing. And I'm like,
I thought it was going to be me.
Me too.
It is not.
No, and I would be a great choice.
Well,
maybe they're going to become a democracy.
A devil.
I'm not a devil. I'm a prince.
Now, does Skyrim take place after this game, or is it also a prequel?
It's after.
It's after. So the Imperial army has been like shattered, or I think there's like a lot of factions, maybe?
Yeah, it's been weakened. The Empire is not what it used to be.
I don't remember what the plot of Skyrim is, other than you do Dragon Man now.
I guess we can find out in 2021.
Yeah, when we play Skyrim.
And that's it.
It's going to be great.
We beat it, guys. We did it.
We are promised a reward of some dragon armor, but you have to wait 1 week in-game to get it. Oh, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well,
I turned it off and will never turn it back on again. So it'll be sitting there for the rest of my life.
Do you think that they liked this ending so much, they're like, hey, how do we finish Fallout 3? And then someone's like, why don't we do the exact same thing?
Hey, shut up. I haven't played Fallout 3. No spoilers.
Okay.
No spoilies if there's a kaiju fight at the end of Fallout 3. Damn it, John.
Sorry.
All right, well, whatever. That's it for Oblivion. Oblivion, you were fun. But before we get to Squarely Against, I think we have a couple of corners to get through.
Yeah. We got some questicles to talk about.
I have Matt's Sneaky Thief Stabby Man Chronicle.
Ooh.
You mean Sneaky Assassin Stabby Man.
That's true. So I will tell you about the rest of the Assassin's Guild if you're interested.
I am.
Welcome to Matt's Assassin Corner. If you remember, last time I had done some assassinations, and I killed the man in the prison, and I dropped a thing on a man's head. It was all pretty good. And I continue to run missions like that, and they kind of get progressively wackier. Like, I have to kill one guy by selling him some skooma and letting him OD.
Oh.
And then I snuck into some warlord's underground fortress and swapped his medicine with poison so that he would kill him, so that he would die. And then I participated in a competition to win a house by spending the night in a spooky manner.
Oh, ooh, that's my favorite one.
Except that I had the special task of killing everyone else in the house.
It's a great quest because you get a bonus if you can do it without anyone else in the house finding out. So, like, every person you kill, the other people become more and more frantic and paranoid, and they're like, there's a killer in here with us. And
I never had a hard time just crouching behind them and sneak attacking them, though. Like, it didn't make a difference.
No, it was great.
I also, I had to kill a guard captain while he was swimming, and then cut off his finger and leave it in his boss's desk. Ooh, so that was nice.
Grim.
Yeah, and then it gets real dark, and I start working directly for the leadership of the Assassin's Guild. That is the Black Hand. Mm-hmm. And they have me go kill everyone else that was in my original hideout.
No, your brothers and sisters?
Mm-hmm. My vampire friend, my, that was the only one, really, that I remember. The rest of them were just cannon fodder. This is around the time that I became a vampire, which I gotta tell you, I almost instantly regretted it. First of all, I mentioned that Felix was a black cat. He was all black and, black-furred, and he became a vampire, and he turned blonde and looked like a lion instead of like a Black Panther, and I was really mad about it. He kind of looked like an all-black house cat, and then he turned into a lion when he became a vampire.
I didn't realize that blondness was a
I know
aspect of vampirism.
I know. It's really weird.
It's like a reverse Fable. Remember how Fable goodness was blonde?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There's definitely, there's some bonuses to being a vampire. It makes you a lot stronger, but it also is a pain in the ass. And I regretted it.
How so? Pain in ass.
It makes you like sunlight hurts you, and you can't fast travel, and you have to go inside somewhere and rest until nighttime. It was just a huge pain in the butt.
Oh.
And unless you bite somebody at least like once every 2 days. So I spent a lot of time haunting the mage guilds, preying on apprentice mages.
Oh no.
Because there's always a mage guild around. And always someone sleeping.
Can you cure your vampirism?
Yes, but I didn't finish the quest for that before I finished the game.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. So, I had to go kill everybody at the hideout, starting with my vampire buddy, which was kind of a bummer, but I didn't care. But from this point on, I just started getting my missions from dead drops. Mm-hmm. And I'm finally starting to make some money. I'm getting like 500 gold per mission, which isn't much, but at least it's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the dead drop missions aren't great. They're all pretty just go here and kill this person. One was pretty good. I had to hunt down an entire family, starting with like the grandma. And I went and met her out at her farm, and she thought I was like an Amazon delivery boy and gave me a list of presents that I had to go buy and distribute to her family members. Then I used grandma's shopping list to murder her entire family.
No, Matt.
Did you replace them with deadly versions of all the items or something?
No. I just stabbed them in the backs of the throats.
Oh, jeez.
So, there's a few of those, and then, disaster strikes. It turns out that someone was tricking me all along, and I've actually been killing off the leadership of the guild, the Black Hand of the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh no.
And, so I have to go stake out a dead drop, my next dead drop, and then, I go find this traitor's evidence dungeon. Where it turns out that his plan is to kill the leadership of the guild so that they'll have to summon Sithis to choose a new leader, and then he'll kill Sithis.
Whoa.
He also has his mother's head on a tray in his house, and I
Excuse
stole
me?
it.
What?
That's weird.
Yeah, he had a whole crazy person journal in his evidence dungeon. It was pretty dumb. You know, like, I could give you the details, but suffice to say, he was some crazy person nonsense. So, the leadership of the Black Hand, my handler, whose name I don't recall, is the surviving listener, leader of the Black Hand. And, he has, while I've been searching this evidence dungeon, he's already striked, with the rest of the leadership, and they've gone and killed the guy because whoever the traitor is, convinced the rest of the assassin's leadership that the listener was the traitor.
What? What now?
So they killed my boss, basically.
Oh.
So they kill my boss because they think he's the traitor, and then they induct me into the Black Hand.
Oh, nice.
And send me, or don't send me, they induct me into the Black Hand, and we have to go perform this ritual to summon Sithis. And I decide to, like, just kind of stake the situation out and kill the traitor when they reveal themselves. And I do. It's not hard. Basically, you summon Sithis, and she's a ghost, and she comes out of a statue, and she's like, hey, and then this guy's like, ha, I'll kill you. And he kills the rest of the Black Hand leadership, except for one other person, and then he attacks Sithis, and he can't kill her because she is basically a ghost. It's just kind of a waste of time. You can kind of just stand there and watch it happen. It's pretty dumb. But eventually you do have to stab this person so that they will die, and you have saved the day. And Sithis named me the new listener of the guild.
Nice.
And that's good, because I was basically the only person left.
Oh.
And that is the story of Felix the Cat, Assassin's Guild leader.
I have a fun fact about that whole quest experience.
Sure.
Tell me.
I love fun facts.
So you can take the mother's head from the guy's evidence dungeon and carry it with you. And if you take it to the place where they are all gathered, having killed your boss, and drop it on the floor, the guy who's the traitor freaks out. He's like, what the heck? What? And then he has to, like, pull himself together and be like, no, it's cool. I just, I thought I saw something.
Oh, man. I took the head hoping I could do something like that, but because nothing ever prompted me, I didn't. I just kind of kept it for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
You know, like you do. I never bought a house or anything. I just kept everything on me.
Oh.
I was a real murder hobo like you get in a D&D campaign. Like, just don't own a thing other than the sword on my back and the gold in my pouch, and I will stab everything that gets in my way. Anyway, that's Matt's, Felix's Assassin Corner. What's next, guys? Squarely Against? Are we done?
No.
I can talk about not finishing the Fighters Guild quest because I couldn't find any more prompts to find more quests, and no one would give me any more missions, and so I just kind of gave up. So I just did random quests instead. I did some fun ones.
Are some of the best part of the game.
Like, one I did was called The Forlorn Watchman.
Ooh.
That one's pretty good.
How forlorn was he?
Well, this guy outside of, not Bruma, I forget what the name of the town is. The like, not quite southeast town. You know what I'm talking about.
The sort of shitty one.
Yeah. So there's this guy who wanders around outside that town. It's a ghost. And you know it's a ghost.
Okay, I was going to
spectral.
ask. That was my next question, so thank you.
And you kind of follow him for a while, and he walks out to the coast, and he will talk to you and just say, like, hey, I'm not here. My body's in the mouth of the tiger.
Ooh, a tiger.
And you're like, well, I don't know what that means. But panther, I think.
Ooh,
so you
a panther.
go back to the bar where the guy told you about this ghost. And he's like, oh, I know what that means. That's like this rocky jetty where lots of boats get hung up. So maybe that has something to do with that. So I went there, and there's a boat that's like crashed up on the shore.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go inside the boat through a hole, and the boat is full of ghosts.
Do you know that they're ghosts?
Yes.
Okay.
They're like, woo.
As a ghost should do.
And you get, there's some journals about how people took over the ship and then were trying to find a haven from a storm in this inlet, but then ran aground and everyone drowned.
Oh, no.
Like, there's a mutiny, and so, like, people were already in trouble. And the guy who was the ghost was tied up in the bottom of the ship. And you have to fight a wight that is guarding him. It's very spooky.
That does sound spooky.
So when you fight this wight, you get a key to the back room, and you can open a door, and there's the skeleton of the guy who's the ghost.
Oh.
And if you release his shackles, he thanks you and gives you a treasure map.
The skeleton?
Well, the ghost of the guy.
Ghosts show up?
Yeah, ghosts show up and give you a treasure map.
Oh, okay.
And the treasure map to all his belongings, which was like $50 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
But still, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, I'm sure it meant a lot to him.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I did save his soul from eternal torment.
Yeah, good
He was
on
pretty,
you.
pretty psyched about that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what other quests did I do? Oh, I did one. Speaking of souls in eternal torment, there's a lady, Janine, who runs a store in the Imperial City, and she's real mad because this guy, Thorinir, seems to be selling everything at way crazy prices.
Oh.
And it's driving everyone out of business.
Oh, so like crazy low.
Yeah, crazy low prices.
Oh, like it's crazy Thorniers and everything's got to go.
Got to go. It's like a mini mall.
Oh.
So she's like, hey, maybe like find out who he's getting his stuff from and follow him. So I did. And he's getting his stuff from this jerk. He's just a real jerk. I don't like him very much.
What's a jerky about him?
I forget his name. It was like Agonir. Well, he just seemed like arrogant every time I talked to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and followed him back to his house, or I went to his house when he wasn't there, and I broke in. And I was hoping there would be a way that didn't require using a lockpick, but you have to use a lockpick, which I'm not very good at, and doesn't work very well on the PC for some reason. So I go to the lockpick, or I pick his door, go down, and I find out he has been using bodies that were buried and taking their belongings and selling them to Thorinir.
He's grave robbing.
Mm-hmm.
This is shocking news.
And like all bad guys in Oblivion, he took careful notes about all the graves he robbed and what he took from them.
October 28th, robbed another grave.
Yes.
Sure hope I don't get caught robbing these graves.
Boy, robbing these graves sure is fun.
Mm-hmm. Boy, howdy, I sure got a lot from this grave.
Mm-hmm. I hope that I don't get in trouble for robbing all these graves.
Yeah, come to think of it, my character basically grave robs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, heads into a crypt and just takes whatever. So, yeah. I guess I'm not really one to judge.
Well, but I mean, they're old crypts. These are pretty recent crypts. These are people that have been buried pretty recently. Anyway.
Oh.
So I bring this ledger to Thorinir, and he's upset because he doesn't realize he's buying stolen goods from dead bodies.
Oh, sure, he didn't.
Well, that's what he says. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, well, Arganmir had a special, he said he was going to go do something today, so you could follow him. And I did. He was raiding a crypt.
Oh.
Now, I think there's a few ways to solve this. I think you can go in maybe invisibly and just steal his shovel to prove what he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have good invisible skills or stealth skills, so I just murdered him.
Oh. Okay.
And the game's like, well, that seems ironic, killing someone in a tomb.
Oh, I see.
guess it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The penalty for grave robbing in Cyrodiil is death anyways.
Oh, gosh. That's harsh.
Did you do this quest?
Yes.
Did you kill him or did you take him to justice?
I killed him.
Yeah, I think you can do it the other way, but I'm not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that quest. And finally, I did a quest about Mehrunes' razor.
What? Who is Mehrunes?
Isn't Dagon Mehrun the big bad guy?
Oh, right. And he's a shaver, I guess?
Yeah, he's got like a nice razor blade. Like it's 5 blades, so it's 5 times the action.
Oh, nice.
For a smoother, more supple skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of raced through this one, so I wasn't super paying attention to the plot, but basically there's an army that is looking for this razor because it can like banish people to the nether realm.
Oh.
That's like a ability of the sword.
That's pretty extreme.
And so there's a whole army devoted to mining out this ancient city and getting to this razor.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a city buried, a camp buried underground full of people that will run and kill you. And you have to get these 2 spheres to open up this gate. And so you have to like find 2 people working for this army guy, and you get to him and you get those spheres. You get to this guy. They're all in fights with vampires who live in Dagon City.
Oh.
And they're like, so the army and the vampires are fighting all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you finally get to the end, and this elf guy is hanging out by this body. And you kill him, and the body, you can eat the heart. That's one way to get to the knife. Or there might be another way.
What?
Yeah, you can eat this like ancient heart, which is still beating.
Weird.
I chose not to. I defied Dagon and tried to break in, but that didn't work. But then the body of the guy with the beating heart reanimates, and you have to fight him, and then you can get the razor.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I did. But you can also just eat the heart.
What you do with razor when you have it?
It just like sends them to the Phantom Zone when you stab things with it, like some of the time.
Okay.
It's like an insta-kill blade.
Yeah. I wonder if it's sending people to Cameron's Paradise.
Could be. It could be. And Vanessa, what about your Daedric corner?
Vanessa's Daedric corner!
Well, actually, I don't want to talk about it, Daedra.
Because last time you had a song.
Yeah, I did have a great song, but...
Going through the smoke and ruins, who's gonna save the day? Vanessa's Daedric corner, I wish the Hulk was gay.
Sean. Jeez.
That was a great song. But I don't want to talk about Daedra.
Oh.
I want to talk about the place where I started out in this world. Not the Imperial prison, but the Thieves Guild. You'll remember me being in the Thieves Guild and having a grand old time stealing a whole bunch of stuff. And y'all remember when I met a man named the Stranger. Mm-hmm. And he did some forging for me.
That's what they call it when you sit on your hand and it goes numb?
Uh-huh. And y'all remember when
And then you use it to kill a bunch of strangers?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
steal their stuff. Y'all remember when I had that one guard transferred to Anvil?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm like minding my own business, just stealing stuff and selling it to a fence, when I get a message that the Grey Fox himself is finally ready to meet me.
Yeah!
So I go to this dude's house, and the Grey Fox is just, like, sitting in there chilling out. And Grey Fox is
What's
like...
he look like? Describe him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He looked like a man in a mask. He's wearing the Grey Fox's hood. He looks just like he does on the poster. He looks like a sort of nondescript white dude, I think an Imperial, in a mask.
I was hoping for, like, a fox man.
Well, it's sort of a foxy kind of mask. Like, it has a animalistic kind of nose, and it's gray, like a fox. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like a gray fox.
Yeah.
And Grey Fox is like, hey, I'm glad that you've been doing so great and stole all this special stuff, like the boots of Spring Heel Jack and the arrow of extraction, because you're going to need them all, because we're going to steal an Elder Scroll. That's right.
One of the Elder Scrolls?
One of the titular Elder Scrolls.
Titular.
What makes it such an Elder Scroll?
I guess it's a scroll that's real old.
So it's an older scroll.
It's an older scroll. Older than any other scroll.
Older Scrolls Oblivion.
So the older scrolls are all kept in the Imperial castle, like way up at the top of the tower. So he says it's going to be super hard to get in there, but I believe that you can do it because you're the greatest thief ever. And you're like, why do you need this scroll so bad? And he's like, never mind about that. So, you head into the Imperial castle, and your first thing that you need to do is find this, like, weird hourglass in this storage room. So you kind of head in. It's pretty easy to sneak into the storage room. You activate the hourglass, and then, it opens up a gate somewhere in the sewers. So, then you gotta head into the sewers, you fight your way through, there's some undead, vampires, ghosts, and wraiths, and all that kind of thing. You head into the Imperial sewers, and there's this, like, sort of a gap, so you have to equip the boots of Spring Heel Jack, and they make you super bouncy.
That's amazing. I forgot about those. Man, I never got that far in the Thieves Guild quests.
They're great. So, it turns out they make you super spring-heeledy, and you can bounce on up to high ledges.
I kind of didn't play this game, so I don't... Yeah, you know what? I'll save it.
Yeah, save it. This is my thievy corner. So, you bound on up there. Not that I didn't interrupt you during your Assassin's Corner, but I had fun facts. So, you jump up there. There's this big sort of like weird keyhole on this pillar. And you have to push around some blocks and open up some levers and things like that. And then you get to this place where you can stand in like a special spot. And the game warns you, like, you can only use the arrow of extraction once. So make sure that you're standing in the right place and test it out with some arrows. So you stand on this pressure plate and the keyhole opens up. And if you look at the arrow of extraction, it looks like its head is like a key. So you get out your bow, you take aim, and you fire the arrow of extraction into the keyhole.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Once you do that, it opens up another pathway. It also brings to life some stone guardians. But I just snuck past them, because whatever. Then you're right inside the palace. In fact, it pooks you right out into the Imperial Guard quarters. So they're, like, all asleep. And you're just like, oh, geez, okay. You sneak around and sneak into the library. And there's this sort of gate. And the library is... staffed by all of these blind priests, because... Don't laugh at the blind priests.
No, I'm just laughing at the situation
yes.
you have got yourself
monster.
into.
They are all blind from reading Elder Scrolls, which makes you go blind, because I guess the text is really small or something like that. So... You sneak in, there's one guarding the door, but you can just sneak up behind him and pull the lever to open the door and then sneak around to the door. And you walk in, and once you get in there, there's a desk and a chair, and you can sit down in the chair, and one of the priests comes up to you and they're like, "You must be Celia, here to read the Elder Scroll. We heard you were coming. Welcome." And you just stay quiet. Don't say anything to him. And he brings you the Elder Scroll and lays it out before you. So then you pick it up. You can sneak your way around the library and sneak your way out. You sneak your way past the head guards, and you sneak into the very head guards' chambers, and there's sort of a note that talks about the secret chute in her fireplace. So you go there, you find out how to open up the fireplace, and you jump down the longest jump ever. But it's okay, because you're wearing the boots of Spring-Heel Jack.
Yeah.
And the chute actually drops you right into the middle of the Elder Council chambers. And you land on their table. Happily, it's empty. The boots are destroyed in the fall, unfortunately.
No.
But you have your Elder Scroll, and you can take it back to the Gray Fox. He's super stoked, and he finally tells you why he needs this. Turns out that fancy hood he's got on is accursed.
Oh.
And the curse of the hood is anonymity. So when he was a thief, and I guess he stole this hood from Nocturnal herself, the Daedric Prince of Darkness.
That seems like a bad plan.
Yeah, it was a bad plan, because turns out when you put the hood on, it makes it so that nobody recognizes you, which is great for thievery, because you can just do whatever. But he realized when he took it off again, everyone from his life had forgotten who he was.
Oh. And
I thought this was pretty clever, because when you are reading that diary of Spring-Heel Jack, the vampire dude, he talks about, I think I had a partner once, but I can't remember his face or name or anything. So clearly, whoever his partner was the first guy who stole this hood.
Right.
And it's been passed down through the Thieves Guild ever since. But the Elder Scroll is going to break the curse of the hood. And Gray Fox really wants to break the curse because his wife is the Countess of Anvil, and he misses her.
Aww.
Yeah, and then I was like, Countess of Anvil, isn't that where you had me send, like, Hieronymus Lex, your arch nemesis, who's always after you? And he's like, yeah, he's a real good guard. He's, like, always after me, and doesn't let things go, and he'll be great for her, and protect her really well. And I'm like, oh, what a nice guy. So, he reads the scroll, he breaks the curse, he actually gives you his wedding ring to bring to the Countess to gauge her reaction. And she looks at the ring and she's like, oh, my husband, I love him so much. And then he reveals himself. Turns out it was the stranger. You know, the guy who did the counterfeiting.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, you would have forgotten if I did tell you. Because nobody could remember him because of his curse of anonymity.
Right.
So it's both passed down through the generations, but also this guy is the same guy?
No, he not same guy, and I think I might have implied he was. I misspoke.
You lied to me.
Yeah, well, because the way he breaks the curse, actually, is to name the original thief. And basically, like, say, I'm not the thief, you know, it was this guy, and he's long dead. So then he's like, okay, I'm Count of Bruma again, or Anvil, I mean, so you're the Gray Fox now. I'm like, I don't want to be the Gray Fox. That hood is cursed.
I'm already a Daedric Prince.
Yeah. But he explains, no, the hood is no longer cursed. But what it does is pretty interesting. When you put it on, people will not recognize you. They'll only see you as the Gray Fox. So any crimes that you commit when you're wearing the hood are attributed to the Gray Fox and not to you. So you don't get any infamy.
Okay, hang on. Wouldn't that happen with any old mask?
Yeah.
So basically, your prize in this game is a mask.
Yeah. But it's a little bit magical where, so like if a guard is like chasing you, and like, we're gonna get you, you can take the hood off and he'll be like, where did the Gray Fox go?
I mean, this sounds like something out of an old Batman comic.
Yeah.
Or Superman. Like,
yeah,
where's Clark?
Yeah.
Hey, Superman's here.
That's your prize.
Where's the Gray Fox? I don't know. Oh.
Mm-hmm. So, now you are the head of the Thieves Guild, but nobody actually knows it. It gets a little weird. He's like, now that the curse is broken, time has probably been changed too. And the curse that the Thieves Guild was under is lifted somehow. So if you go back to the waterfront, the Thieves Guild actually has its own guild house now. And so that's something.
That's weird.
Yeah. And then basically you can talk to people and they still just think you're like a normal thief. But you can also put the hood on and walk around the Thieves Guild and everyone's like, oh my god, it's the Grey Fox. This is amazing. And
just like a mask.
Yep.
I mean.
Yep. Just like a mask. So that's the end of my story of the Thieves Guild. As for my Daedra corner, I'm kind of over Daedra. I don't know.
That's okay.
Yeah.
More like Don'tra.
Well,
I would recommend, if anyone is playing along with this game and enjoyed it, get yourself the Shivering Isles expansion pack and become Sheogorath. It's great. It's probably more fun than the main quest.
Probably.
All right. We did it. Are we done?
Mm-hmm.
We're done.
Oh, sweet time. Let's do it.
Let's see if we're roundly for or squarely against this game.
That's right. Why don't we have Matt start?
Okay. I'm roundly for Elder Scrolls Oblivion. This game was super fun, and I'm glad that we played it. It was wonderful. I didn't quite make the character that I wanted. I'm sure I'm not the first person that's ever done this. I could have just restarted pretty early on. I think I realized it pretty quickly, but I really, in playing the game, realized that I wanted to be more of a Spider-Man ninja with like magical blasty powers. Mm-hmm. And I really set myself up to be more of a sneaky in the shadows type person. So that was my own fault, and the game still let me pretty well make myself what I want it to be, and it was great. And the combat was terrible, but it didn't matter because I was always bouncing around and shooting things with lightning bolts. Yeah. What about you, John? How do you feel about this game?
I really enjoyed playing it. I got pretty addicted to it, which doesn't always happen when we're playing these games. Sometimes it's kind of like you have to force yourself to play it. Mm-hmm. But overall, really fun. Not my favorite game we've ever played, but I think it's one you can really let yourself get lost in and play as much as you want. And so thumbs up. I am roundly for Oblivion. Vanessa.
Hi, I liked it too. I like that you can play your way, just like at Burger King, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like it.
Yeah, nice. I know my slogans. I like being sneaky thief. Usually in a game, regular listeners will know that I do not like to make evil choices, but the Assassin's Guild quests are so much fun. It just is a shame not to do them in an Elder Scrolls game. And same with the Thieves Guild. Super fun, good times. Loved
Thieves
it.
Quilled?
Yeah, Thieves Guild.
Played everything. It was great. And as a reminder, our next game will be Rogue Galaxy.
That's exciting stuff. And we're going to play the first chapter?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Nice shorty episode to follow up Oblivion. I hope you guys are ready for some Star Wars style nonsense. This game better live up to the hype. I haven't played it, so this better be everything that was promised to me and more.
What was promised to you?
That it would be JRPG Star Wars.
Okay.
I want it to be that and JRPG Star Trek.
Oh.
Ooh, I don't think it's that.
Oh. All right, well, what's next? We leave, right? We're done?
Yeah, we should probably talk about our Patreon.
Oh, yeah,
Hey.
that thing's great.
We have a Patreon. Please give us some of your hard-earned money so that we can have it. We'll give you stuff in return, like episodes.
Podcast episodes.
Podcast.
If you were listening in September, our Patreon-only Square Roots versus Pool of Radiance came out, and it was quite a thing that happened. So if you want to listen to John and I and special guest Julian Titus talk about that, you should subscribe to the Patreon at patreon.com/squareroots or Square Roots Podcast. I should probably know that, but I don't.
Mm-hmm. For October, we'll be doing something spoopy.
Spoopy! Hey, did you know, Vanessa, that if you're a patron at any level, you get a special fun bonus, which is having your name read out on the show?
I had no idea, but I am super excited to hear you do that now.
No, I'm not doing it.
Oh,
so
well,
do that.
I'm not doing it because my voice is going.
Damn it. Where's John? All right. Here is a list of patrons that we love. Benzina Banzoni, Cameron Shoei, Artie Pavlov, Eric Garby, Jonathan Ellsworth, Julia Zanelli, Justin Benoit, Miguel Torres, Nick, Resty Kamada, Tom, Wonder Swan, Aaron Bachman, Andrew Wayant, Ashley T, formerly known as Ashley W. Okay, great. Bree Garth, I have to scroll down. Bree Girth, Brian Pitt, Brian Stone, Brody Toy, Kiva Mosser, David Green, David Pascal, Go Cry Wolf, Jake Dickerson, James Hostetler, Josh Anderson, Justin Ham, Megan Sullivan, Meredith Anderson, Mothma of Mon Calamari, Nathan Poirot, Patrick Coover, Patrick W. Bears, Randy Pierce, Robert M. Pullum, Robert T., Ross Hartley, Samu Mitchell, Tracy Tanoff, Tyler Wetley,
Tyler
Petty, Word Childress, David Shook, G. Bailey, Gregory, James Plett, Jonathan Lee, Joseph A. Rogers, Julian Titus, Matt Jorgensen, Mecha Khan, Race Jenkins, Stu Skeel, Xavier Krieger, Biagio Demento, Devin Sloan, Dylan Rice, Sam Harrison, Vanessa's mom, quote, Vanessa's mom, and Cyril the Wolf.
Yaboo! Send us an email. It's squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Please do it. We don't get any emails, ever. You can also come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, really attractive people, or you can tweet at us at Square Roots Pod. Thanks to Christopher Niskala for providing the theme for this series, the 8-bit chiptune medley of the Oblivion soundtrack. Check out Christopher's Patreon at patreon.com/chrisniskala, and links to that, as well as his YouTube and SoundCloud, are in the show notes. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you screenshot your review and post it on Facebook or Twitter, John will tell you how you leveled up. Nobody ever does that anymore. Nope. We get even fewer of those than we do emails.
No.
We had a nice little run of emails for a while. Listeners, more emails, please?
Yeah.
I like emails.
If we get enough, we'll do a whole email episode.
Probably won't do that.
So, that's it for our Oblivion run. Yeah, for Square Roots Podcast, I'm Vanessa.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
And I'm John Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa. Bye!
Bye!